No helicopters have been procured for me to go to golf course. Thank you.
I never said he wasn't a great politician. I'm just saying he's a officer.
It's supposed to be an interview.
How'd you play out there today?
Well, I found the conditions challenging, mostly because there's no grass on the golf course, but there never has been.
I'm thinking about the swag bag, and I had high hopes for the swag bag.
When you got 3 crevices on the green, your course is trash.
What is going on? Welcome back, Beltway Golfer, episode 22. Alex Dixon here. This week's show is all about the Capital Long Drive Classic, which is going to be on the Golf Channel next week, December 17th, Thursday at 11 a.m., and Sunday, December 20th at 5 p.m. I'm going to air twice on the Golf Channel. The Capital Long Drive Classic was an exhibition that was held and taped in late October and was really only thought of and created, as we hear from one of the founders, Justin Harrison, in August. So it was put together pretty quickly, but it's an exhibition of long drivers, 8 competitors, 4 men, 4 women, that happened right on the downtown mall, West Potomac Park, the old polo fields right on Ohio Drive, and the Washington monuments right in the background and some of the angles. So it's really unique. The first time this has ever happened, kind of people hitting long drives right on the Capitol Mall. So it's going to be exciting to see it on TV. So the 3 people we talked to in this episode. First is Justin Harrison. He is the founder of My Brother's Birdies. Tells us all about that. But the idea for this event was in large part his. And he's a really interesting guy, definitely kind of that entrepreneurial spirit. So he's going to be an interesting guy to kind of just follow his career and see what he's next. So I had a great time talking with him and kind of hear about the creation of My Brother's Birdies, the creation of this event, and kind of what makes him tick. The second is the CEO of EventsDC, Greg Odell, another really interesting guy. And EventsDC is responsible, and I think essentially manages Nationals Park, RFK, the Sports and Entertainment Arena down in Southeast DC. I'm probably forgetting, Carnegie Library, the Washington Convention Center, and I'm sure maybe a couple other venues. But he's responsible for pretty large budget to put on some events around town, and so we get to talk about him, about his love of golf and how maybe they want to promote some more golf events around the city. So that's exciting. And so EventsDC partnered with My Brother's Birdies to produce this event, the Capital Long Drive Classic. The third person we speak with is one of the competitors, and the only local competitor, Josh Jackson. He's an up-and-comer in the long drive world, but really interesting guy, hell of an athlete, former football player, and he recently joined the Eisman Golf Academy with John Eisman, and so he's also an instructor out at Twin Lakes and Laurel Hill. So it was great to meet him and talk with him for a while. So the event itself was put on in late October. I got the privilege to go out and shoot a little bit of video, some not so great video, but took some pictures, and it was great to see. It was my first time I've ever been to a long drive event in person, but because of the 2020 pandemic and everything going on, fans weren't allowed. So it was only about 30 or 40 members, either friends of the folks putting it on, friends of the competitors, and some media that got to see it. Which made it, I'm sure, a little bit unusual, since the clapping and cheering was a bit muted because it was such a small crowd. And one of the interesting things, it was put on fairly quickly, so at least I didn't notice there was no aerial shots. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays on TV. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see it. This was very much a TV production. It was a competition. It was an exhibition. But this was essentially made for TV. So there was some stop and starting when you're there live watching it. So excited to see how the production is put together for an hour show on the Golf Channel. And just to showcase DC and see these guys bomb drives around the National Mall. It's unique, it's cool. But one of the other interesting things that Justin gets into about the timing of this all that he put together with EventsDC is the World Long Drive Tour, which is owned by the Golf Channel, was put up for sale by them, and they effectively shut it down. I'm not 100% sure, but I think before the pandemic. And so if you go to the World Long Drive Tour website, you get an error, site not found. So the Golf Channel effectively shut the whole thing down. Not sure exactly why. Why didn't they keep it going? While they tried to find a buyer for it? That I don't know. But the timing of Justin and the team to put this together sounded maybe like it was ideal. And so Justin talks a little bit about that maybe there's some future events, long drive events that he might get involved with to come, since there's a hole there on what the future of long drive competitions are, because there's no argument that they are popular and there's a place for them. It's just who's going to run it and what is it going to look like going forward. So a lot of interesting stuff. But in any case, so that's it. So again, the two times it's going to be on the Golf Channel are Thursday, December 17th at 11 a.m. So kind of in the morning. So set your DVRs if you're working. But then again on Sunday night. So Sunday 5 p.m. December 20th. It'll be showed again. It's going to be an hour show. So looking forward to it. But that's it. So Justin Harrison, Greg Odell, Josh Jackson. Here you go. Episode 22. Enjoy. Justin Harrison, how are you? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Thanks, Alex.
So we are a week or two away from the broadcast on the Golf Channel of the Capital Long Drive Classic. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. It was quite a feat. It was one of those things, a crazy idea that just materializes, and you're kind of like, how the hell do we get here?
Yeah. So we're going to hear all about it. So so thank you. I got to come out and kind of be a part of it. I'm not really a part of it, but it was because of the pandemic and COVID. It wasn't really open to the general public and fans. So I was excited at the opportunity to come down, take some pictures, and meet some of the folks involved. But it was, how long ago? What was the actual date?
October 24th was the actual date. Yeah.
So it's almost a couple months ago now.
Yeah.
So I want to hear all about how the idea of the Capital Long Drive Classic came about.
Yeah.
But I want to hear about you. You are, what is, so My Brother's Birdies is essentially, like, what take us through it. What is My Brother's what is your role with My Brother's Birdies? What is My Brother's Birdies? And what is My Brother's Birdies' role in the Capital Long Drive Classic?
Sure. So I'm the founder of My Brother's Birdies. My Brother's Birdies has now evolved into its own 501c3 organization.
Okay.
With the mission of creating opportunities for kids from underrepresented communities.
Okay.
To learn how to play golf, right? And develop life skills that will help them along the way, right? Part of this is because my hypothesis is that we're all a byproduct of opportunities and exposures, right?
Sure.
You and I are talking today because of certain exposure opportunities we had that led us to this moment.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of times that's the make or break whether somebody has success or not, right? Mm-hmm. And for a lot of kids from underrepresented communities, they don't get those exposure opportunities.
Absolutely.
So if you take them, at 12 and introduce them to the game of golf, who knows who they can meet along the way that might be able to give them a reference when they get to school or become a mentor or something. And then the other part, so that's in our My Brother's Birdies, it's learning how to play golf. And then we developed a extracurricular program around financial literacy and STEM education, right? Because in addition to learning how to play, there's those soft skills.
Sure.
And those important life skills that we have to develop that's going to, once we get in the door, that's going to help you, and progress.
And you focus on what age group?
Right now the program is focused on 12 to 18. So
12 to 18 is when I could have used some financial literacy myself.
Shit, I'm still learning at 37, right?
That's exactly right.
And part of that is, I was fortunate enough to go to really good schools, and I came from a good family, but there was certain kids that knew more about money than I did, right?
Sure.
And whether it's learning about stocks or now we're going to cryptocurrency,
yeah.
Right? How to manage checkbooks, debt and stuff, and that's important.
How are you doing this? Are you are you connected with schools, or like how does a kid get involved with My Brothers Birdies, and then are these classes? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we're actually launching the first pilot program in 2021. The goal was to do it in 2020, but then COVID shifted all that.
Sure.
We actually got our official 501c3 in May of this year to start doing this, and so it's First Tee is our partner on the golf education part.
Okay.
Chase Bank gave us some funding towards building out these financial literacy programs.
Okay.
And then right now we're talking to EverFi, the curriculum platform, to be like, essentially doing virtual classes. And then I was telling you today, we're talking to SAP about developing the STEM stuff. So it's actually like being built right now. Like, and the good part is the Capital Long Drive Classic is our national launch pad to kind of get this thing off the ground, right?
Wow. Oh, see, I didn't realize that. I thought it was the other way around. I thought My Brothers Birdies, the program had been for a while. This was just like, hey, let's put together an event and see and do some promotion. But really, this event has been the launch pad of it.
Exactly. So you asked, like, how did My Brothers Birdies get started? So in 2019, I had the idea of doing a charity golf tournament that was, and look, I was fortunate to play in a lot of the local tournaments, and they all go towards great causes, whether it's cancer research or something for the troops or whatever have you, hospitals, but I hadn't seen one that was done at a high-end level that was given back to communities of color, right? Sure. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of influential people in the city, and like, let's put this together. And funny story, so one day I went to City Swing, where it's in, City Swing was down at the city center. And I was
Terry Cash. She was on the show.
Terry Cash is a friend, right? Sure. So when she first opened, like, I saw the thing, I was like, I wonder what that is, right? And so one day I'm driving by, I was like, let me just go in there. And I walk in there, and all my friends who I play basketball with in the mornings is in there, and they're during the middle of the day having like a little happy hour hitting golf balls. Is Reggie Love, who used to work for the Obama administration, Greg Odell, who you talked to as well. Yeah, Duke Blue Devil. And all these guys in there like hitting balls and stuff. I'm like, what's going on here? First of all, you guys didn't give me an invite, so I'm insulted. And two, it was like, I didn't know all these guys wanted to play golf. And then like the idea came about, like, let's blend into this world of politics, business, sports, and entertainment, and to raise some money for My Brother's Keeper. And again, through my relationship with Reggie and stuff, I knew some people to get that done. So we did it. In 2019, we had this charity golf tournament at TPC Potomac that raised money.
And so at that time, that was My Brother's Keeper.
It was My Brothers Birdies Charity Golf Classic.
Okay.
That was raising money for My Brother's Keeper.
Okay, got it.
And so we did it in July of 2019. And then, we turned a profit enough to make a contribution and stuff. So, people had a great time. And then, I was like, where everything's headed now, was that even part of the idea then? Or was the idea then, let's just do a charity golf tournament? Let's just try to do a charity golf tournament. And then once we got out of that, it was like, all right, well, let's I saw some opportunities. We still have a partnership with My Brother's Keeper, but there was an opportunity to, instead of just doing fundraising, let's also create some programming that can run in parallel and in partnership with them. Okay. And they wanted to do more inside the golf world as well. So I was like, all right, well, let's go and create our own programming that can support the kids that are in My Brother's Keeper.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's how this all came together.
Interesting.
And then, so the plan was in 2020, we were going to launch this program that we were going to pilot in D.C. and then be able to go to, their different charters, their chapters in Boston and Houston and Oakland, et cetera, right? Okay. But then COVID happened. Sure. Right? And then, it kind of was like, all right, well, what are we going to do? And this is how we got to the origin of the Capital Long Drive Classic.
So what are we going to do? Let's just organize a massive long drive event on the National Mall and try to get it on TV. Right. What was that conversation?
Right. So I never forget the date. I have the date. It was August 10th. My friend Lawrence Ham, who's the senior director of business development.
So remember that date. You said earlier that the date of the event was October 24th.
Yeah.
So okay. So we're looking at that's about 70 days or 75 days.
October 10th. He sent me an email. He's like,
August 10th.
You got a minute? And I called him and we talked, and Lawrence was actually on my host committee for the My Brothers Birdies Charity Golf Classic in 2019. And he was like, hey, we're trying to do something in golf, right? What do you think we can do? And he saw what we did with the charity golf tournament, and he was like, do you think we'd do something in long drive? And I was like, yeah, let's see. Yeah, but it would only be cool if we did it in like a fun place. Because like, where are you going to get 400 yards of space here at East Potomac, right?
Yeah.
Or at Langston or at Rock Creek? It just doesn't exist. And so I was like, the only place you can do it is on the National Mall. So, and again, my background comes from doing wine and music festivals. So I know that like there's a scarcity of land where you can do large scale events in DC, right? That was one of the challenges.
And you have a background of putting on events.
Yeah, I have a background of putting on events, right? So he was like, all right, cool, I'll call you back. And then like he called me back the next day and he's like, I think we can get the National Park Service to do this. Because they already had the precedent of doing the Landmark Festival.
Sure.
That
okay.
was back in like 2017 or maybe longer than that, 15,
Okay.
14 or whatever.
Okay.
And he was like, I think we could.
I got an invite to that one.
That was a big festival. They had Drake and all these people here in DC.
I'm just too old to know about it. Okay.
Right. So the National Park Service, like they had done, and then EventsDC had a relationship with them. And it was like, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
You get the ball rolling and see what we're doing. So here's what I did. So I sent a blind email to the World Long Drive Tour to see like, hey, we got this idea, we're looking at opportunities to partner with you guys.
Sure.
Interesting enough, like through COVID, the World Long Drive Tour was actually defunct.
It was owned by the Golf Channel.
It was owned by the Golf Channel, who
Yep.
was owned by NBC Sports.
Yep.
And so there was a series of divestments, and unfortunately, like they had to cancel the World Long Drive Tour.
Did somebody answer your email?
But somebody answered my email
Okay.
from the Golf Channel.
Okay.
And it's got, and I got to actually send him a note. I got to send
Reminder.
him a
Sticky note.
Sticky note. Like I got to send him a note and say thank you again. I've been thanking him through this whole process. Andrew Nouvelle, he responded and he's like, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but I'm happy to help walk you through it. And he talked to me for an hour, kind of gave me, the operation plan for how they did the World Long Drive Tour, right? Gave me the names of all these players that, you should reach out to.
Oh, wow.
Again, August 10th, right?
Yeah.
So that's like a couple days later, I got sending this email to him, and then he like gave me Maurice's number, right?
Yeah.
Maurice Allen. He gave
Yeah.
me Alexis. He gave me all the players to kind of reach out to.
Alexis Belton.
And but initially what the idea was like, all right, well, let's use this as an opportunity to celebrate the diversity and inclusion in the sport.
Sure.
And with my background, what I was doing with the kids, for my brother's keeper,
Yep.
let's introduce, some component where we can do a clinic,
Yeah.
right? And
Sure.
something with the players. And so, first person I called was Maurice. He talked to me for 2 hours, kind of like,
He's a talker. I follow him on Instagram.
He's a talker. He's a talker. But
He'll go live on Instagram in a heartbeat.
Yeah. but he's been through the ranks of the game and stuff like that. He's champion, as well, and he's somebody who really cares about increasing the diversity in the game of golf, right?
Sure.
And so he and I bonded off of that, and he was my first yes.
Okay.
And then he was like, all right, I'll give you Alexis' number.
Okay.
And then like essentially I remember I called everybody. I was like, I called Alexis, she said yes. I called Tori Mullins, she said yes. And initially, but then she moved from competing to doing media stuff. And then like it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
And then once we got our lineup of players and everybody was in,
Yeah.
then we went to the Golf Channel and said, hey, we got this idea. And at that time we had designed most of the stuff. We were like, look, we're doing this thing on the National Mall, celebration of diversity and inclusion. We got these, essentially your marquee long drivers. Do you think it's something that you guys would be interested in covering? And then they said yes. And then and then it just kept going and kept going. And
So that ask was unrelated to the gentleman that responded to your email?
yeah, because he had left at that time.
Okay.
So he was they had a series of layoffs and he was one of them, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
And luckily I caught him right before he was out the door.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's also why he was
Sounds like a lot of good timing was going on.
100%. Like this wouldn't have happened without COVID, right? This wouldn't have happened if like the work like long drive was out at like kind of dormant.
So was it on purpose that you put it together so fast?
No, it was it was Lawrence. Lawrence had an opportunity with some excess budget to like, let's see if we can do this.
Got it. Oh, okay.
Because again,
This budget might expire this year. So
right.
Let's use it.
Yeah, let's use it. Like, do you think like let's just use this thing and then like I 100% if we weren't in COVID, Golf Channel wouldn't have said yes. Andrew wouldn't have been so forthcoming about the World Long Drive Tour because they would have been in business. They're not going to open it up to another competitor.
Yeah.
All the competitors would have been busy. National Park Service would have been like, no, we're not letting you guys use our land to do this. But it was dormant, you know what I mean? And so like all that stuff kind of snowballed and came together.
So the land you got, so it's West Potomac Park. Mm-hmm. It's the old polo fields.
Yep.
Why was that spot chosen? Aside from there's a lot of space there. Although if you get leaky out, when I got down there, I forget. I guess it's Ohio Drive right there, right along the water. I was like, man, if one of my slices might hit one of those cars.
It was close. It was close. Some of those guys, were definitely pushing it left. We actually had to if people hit like a really aggressive draw, borderline hook, it actually was taking could hit people on the left-hand side by the FDR Memorial.
Oh, right.
So we had
that's right on the other side of the street.
That's on the other side of the street. So we had to tell people please walk fast if you're coming along this way.
That's funny.
But the reason why we chose that land is because there was already a precedent with the Landmark Festival.
Oh, that's where the festival was.
That's where the festival was. So we already knew that that was something that they would be. It was an option for it, and so So that was why we chose that space.
I'm certainly excited to see how that all plays on TV.
And we're doing the edits right now. And I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, the best part is, you were there. The front view of them swinging, we strategically placed a tee box, so the Washington Monument is over the trees. You know what I mean? It's just a unique setting to do something like that. You know,
I love it.
Yeah.
And so then going back to, you got Maurice. You got Alexis. You start putting together the roster. You got Josh Jackson, who I'm going to talk to for this show. You put together a night. Tim Burke, Chris Hall.
Yep.
Some studs.
Cassandra Myers, and Mary Driscoll, and then the outlier was Shasta Everhart, right? She's an LPGA player.
Yep.
But she and I tried to work together in the past for the My Brothers Birdies charity golf event.
Okay.
We weren't able to get the schedules in line, but when Troy actually had hurt her shoulder, so that's why she wasn't able to compete.
I was going to ask that when you said she transitioned to media. I was like, I thought it was injury related.
Yeah, it was injury related.
She hasn't retired from long drive.
No, she hasn't retired from long drive. Well, I think that what everybody's going to see when they see the airing of the Capital Long Drive is she's a star, right?
Yeah.
She pops on camera. I mean, it's kind of that's kind of where her career probably is going.
Sure.
But she wasn't able to compete, and so then I knew Shasta. We wanted to celebrate the diversity and inclusion in the game, right? She was somebody who was on the East Coast, right? Because we didn't want to spend a bunch of money to travel somebody, fly them here, and she said yes, and it kind of just lined up right.
And when she first came onto the LPGA, she was one of the first African American women to be on the LPGA in quite some time.
Right.
Well over 10 years at the time.
And I think it was 2013. It was quite some time. But one of the things I gave a speech to everybody before the event, and it was I had thanked everybody for saying yes to the why, right? And that was the big part of this is the why we were doing it was, again, like I said, the celebration of diversity and inclusion, right?
Sure.
You were there in the morning when you saw the kids?
I got to the back half of it.
Yeah. But the opportunity, again, the mission I wanted to do with My Brothers Birdies is give an exposure opportunity for young kids, right? Mm-hmm. And so who knows, one of those kids who might have had opportunity to hit balls with Troy Mullins.
Yeah.
That could be a life-changing opportunity. I don't know, but you at least want to facilitate the opportunity, right?
Sure.
And so everybody said yes to the why, and that's kind of how this thing snowballed.
But it's still, there's still quite a production. You've got to get Golf Channel involved. You've got to get, you've got 8 competitors plus Troy from various parts of the country.
And Chick Hernandez.
He's at least local.
Yeah,
Chick's local.
Yeah,
he just has to hop in the metro or hop in his car. But
you
got to get all those folks here. You still got. I'd imagine you got to get a pretty significant budget to make this happen. Right? Did that come from EventsDC? Did you have to raise money or?
So yes. EventsDC was our major sponsor, right? They were the financial backing for the event. We did have some additional financial sponsorships from Lexus, from TaylorMade, from Volvic, from Power T, and you know that was added some additional revenue to the event.
Yeah.
But EventsDC was our primary event.
So you're going to get 2 airings on the Golf Channel.
Yep.
It's half an hour.
Hour.
Oh, it's an hour. Oh,
Our
nice.
program. 42 minutes of content we're editing down right now, and it is edited for the fireside chat we had in the morning.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then the competition.
Right.
So it's actually turning out to look pretty cool.
Fireside chat. I didn't really hear much of it. I was taking some pictures, but it was pretty cool with the Washington Monument backdrop, right on number 9 on the white course over there. So that'll be. And that was moderated by Chick, right?
Yeah, it was moderated by Chick. Yeah.
Who was that? Whose idea was that to, you know, once you realized Troy maybe was hurt and she might be the host? Like, how did that come together? Having Chick and Troy kind of be co-hosts.
Well, I formed a relationship with Troy's manager through this, right? Like, and we negotiated to Troy's appearance, right? The whole time, right? Like, I mean, it was a negotiation, but through that we had formed a relationship.
Yeah.
And again, like I knew he disclosed where Troy's career is kind of going on the media side. It was like, well, let's let her, let's put her in a place where she could be the host.
Yeah.
Chick played at, the charity golf tournament the My Brother's Birdies charity golf event. I was fortunate. I played with him a few times, right?
Okay.
And Chick Hernandez is legend here in DC.
Sure, absolutely.
And so, so he was an easy X on that front. But that's how all that came together.
Got it.
Was, trying to find the right combination on that.
Well, it's a great lineup. It was fun to see those big hitters up close like that. It was really cool. Excited to see it. I'd be remiss for asking, only because a couple people had even asked me about it. Was there, and this is not to take away from anything from this lineup, because the lineup is dynamite, but there is kind of a local guy, Kyle Berkshire.
Yeah.
Was he contacted? I'm just curious.
No, he was. It didn't fit for him. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. Maybe there'll be future opportunities for.
Listen, we would want to. He's a champion, and he does, have local roots here. I mean, he was somebody we definitely he was going to be the focal point of it.
Sure.
But it just didn't line up right.
Understood.
Yeah.
So we were chatting here before we kind of hopped on. So you maybe have some plans to What's next? I guess my question is, what's next for the Capital Long Drive Classic?
Well, EventsDC has, right now is committed to, making this an annual event, and the goal is in hopefully a post-COVID world,
get some fans,
that we can do some fans, and really build it out and make a weekend of it to raise some good money on it. That's the plan, and maybe moving it actually on the mall area. You know what I mean? As this thing gets bigger. But there's also some opportunities to, do this similar concept of producing long drive events in unconventional spaces and places, right? And I think that was one of the reasons why the Golf Channel was like, sure, we'll give this a shot, right? You're checking a lot of boxes here.
Yeah.
You're bringing back long drive. We need content. I'm interested because you're saying you're doing this at a national mall. Let's see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And, you're talking about D&I, right? Diversity and inclusion, right? There's a lot of boxes for them to check. So, there's an opportunity as we are still, trying to navigate this COVID space of doing this in different markets and making it more of a TV program. And so my hypothesis in this is, long drive as a sport just isn't that interesting, right? But long drive as an entertainment program,
combining the two,
sure. Right? You could do something, right? It's kind of like Steph Curry's Holy Moly, right?
And doing it in more unique spaces.
Right? And so, we're having some pretty advanced conversations right now, and figuring out what that looks like, and potential lead sponsors that will give us the financial backing to do this in different cities.
Interesting. I love it. Is there much talk? Have you heard from either the contestants or your contacts at the Golf Channel about anyone trying to bring back their version or purchasing what they had?
So it looks like there are a number of different long drive events, or the organization. I was actually on a conference call on Monday with the Professional Long Drive Association.
Yeah.
And they're still doing events.
Yeah.
I think that again they're kind of staying true to the old format of it.
Sure.
Yeah. I think if there's adding color figuratively and literally opens another dimension to it, I think that, introducing professional athletes who are amazing golfers and who, play the sport and putting them in a long drive setting is cool. Again,
I love it.
it's
See how far Charles Barkley can hit a ball.
yeah. Let's see how far you can do it, right? I mean, but there's all kind of guys, right? There's Reggie Bush, right? There's
Sure.
These guys who
I
are
want to see LeBron versus DJ Metcalf.
yeah, right. Let's see, like, and imagine, like, if if they worked with a professional long driver and got the technique, like, all they got to do is, I played with Derek Doherty, who used to play with the Skins
Sure.
last week, and like when he catches one, it's like, holy shit, like, how do you hit the ball that far, right? It's just like
Athletes are athletes.
Athletes are athletes,
like,
right?
There was a viral video. I think Mike Trout showed up to a Top Golf.
Right.
You're like, whoa, did that stay in the building?
So you get guys like that, like, yeah, I mean, they could translate, with their like athletic ability, and teach them the sport,
Totally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then part of that is also, and we're looking at our ways to scale My Brother's Birdies, right? And to be able to take this into different markets and really grow what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, as a nonprofit, I always believe that, you got to have a revenue driver that helps you achieve your mission.
Sure.
And so, like, these two things go hand in hand, the long drive stuff and what we do with My Brother's Birdies.
Got it. So going forward, this is going to be, the plan is this will be an annual event here in D.C.
Yep.
Regardless of
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
Hopefully with some fans. Your charity golf event at Avenel is also hopefully an annual event.
Right now, we're slated for the Monday before 4th of July weekend. That's the kind of space that we have booked out. So what is that? I think that's like June 29th or something like that.
Is
this
that
year.
something that the public can get involved with by if they want to pay donate
absolutely.
to charity and put a foursome together, something like that?
Absolutely. And we'll announce that in April. Part of right now we got to figure out is ideally, part of the feedback we got from the athletes was like, we packed a lot in one day. The last time is like, well, if we can spread it out, so maybe do like the long drive on a Saturday, the charity component on a Sunday, and then do a charity golf tournament on a Monday, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a way to,
Sure.
and to like pack a lot into a weekend,
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, man. This is pretty impressive that all came together in such a short time frame.
Yeah.
And now here we are. It's going to be on Golf Channel on the 17th, and is it Christmas Eve, the 24th?
The 17th at 11 a.m. That's
Okay.
Thursday, December 17th at 11 a.m. and Sunday, December 20th at
20th. I was off by a few days.
At 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Sunday, December 20th.
Yep.
But the premiere is the 17th
At 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's cool. A couple more quick questions, unrelated. So, at the end of a lot of these conversations, I kind of bring it back to golf here locally. You much of a golfer yourself?
I play 2-3 times a week now.
2 or 3 times a week.
So part of the reason why I became an addict, right? Like, and I always done like passion and purpose. So like I told you before, my background, I was in the wine industry. I'm a somm, right? And then I wanted to do an event experience, and I created a wine and music festival, right? And so like I love golf, and one of the ways to pay for your lifestyle is to do business in it, right?
That's right.
I'm sure that's why you have like a podcast or something like that,
absolutely.
right?
Try to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Where do you have any places you play in particular? Or?
So I play in a Sunday Skins game with a bunch of like older guys, old heads. Every Sunday, we do with all the Maryland nines, right? The top Maryland nines.
Sure.
I mean, we'll go out to Stonewall and Raspberry Falls, down to Queenstown.
Sure.
But we play pretty much all the top tracks. In the area.
Love it. That's fantastic. And you're a local guy. I think you told me when we first met, you went to St. John's?
You went to St. John's, yeah.
WCAC.
Yeah, WCAC.
Nice.
City, well, we lost to Spingon in the city title game, but we were the WCAC champs in 2000.
Hoops.
Yeah.
Were you on the hoops team?
Oh, yeah. I played basketball in college and everything.
Oh, yeah. Where are you playing college?
At Gettysburg.
Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this was, you weren't there when like Chris Wright was playing, were you?
Chris Wright was 2000. So when I graduated, I was a JV co-head coach.
Okay.
Right after I graduated in 2005 from college. 2006, Chris would have been a junior that year. So he was right after her. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, WCAC, man. That's some serious competition.
Oh man.
People
don't understand, man. Growing up playing DC basketball, like high school basketball.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were playing in college environments, every week.
Yeah. I mean, I played high school ball in Montgomery County, but in the summer leagues in particular, we came down and played in Jella, played with Civil Friends, and we got to see a lot of that WCAC competition and just the city competition, and it's legit.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about my first game I ever started was a sophomore against DeMatha, and it was Joe Forte and Keith Bogan.
Sure.
and Forte gave me like 36.
It's not a bad backcourt.
Oh my God! I mean, come on.
It's funny. We actually, I had my assistant coach in high school ball. I'm a little bit older than you. I played in the high school ball in the early '90s, and but was the St. John's guy who played at Wake Forest. 6'11", Justin Ellis.
Oh, Justin Ellis. Yeah, Coach Ellis.
Coach Ellis was my assistant coach in high school.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Coach
I
Ellis.
love Justin.
Yes, Coach Ellis.
Yeah,
he was assistant coach when I was a freshman. Yeah,
at St. John's.
At St. John's.
Really? I don't know. So this would have been like 94, 95.
Oh wow!
I don't know how he got. But I went to high school at Walter Johnson.
Okay.
In Bethesda, and yeah, he was on our bench. He was great. I loved him.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was looking up you, somehow his name popped up on like a Google search or something. I was like, oh shit.
Coach Ellis.
I hadn't thought of the
Wow.
name in a while, so I had to make sure I brought him up.
Yeah. I had to talk about him for hours. Great guy though. Great guy.
Oh, tremendous guy.
Yeah.
Tremendous guy.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. And you play ball at Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Wow. So you got some game. I'm not gonna invite you out to my regular game. Then you're probably embarrassed.
Well, we talked to Greg Odell. We are part of. We play 5:45 in the mornings at Gonzaga High School.
Oh wow.
So we have a
good runs.
a good pickup run of like good professional league.
Yeah.
But everybody played college basketball somewhere. And when you talk to him, I mean, he's a hell of a hooper.
Well, I'll bring that up.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I missed during the pandemic is we got a gym. It's a junior high school gym we rent out in Annandale.
Okay.
And we had every Tuesday night. We played late. I think we were from 9 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. Tuesday nights.
So, how do you go to bed after that?
You don't. You get a couple beers.
Yeah, right.
You put down another 1,000 calories, and,
Right.
and you go to bed at 2 a.m.
Right.
But man, I miss it. So we haven't played because it's all indoors,
Since
and
March.
we would get 15 guys out there every week.
Yeah.
And we haven't played since March. So I miss it.
That is the obviously the pandemic has thrown a wrench in a lot of our lifestyle and stuff, but that probably is. I know it's frivolous, but that's one of the hardest things to lose because it was your exercise, it was your brother, your brotherhood,
Yeah.
the guys that you would see all the time,
It's showing up in my waistline.
Yeah, right. And it was just that was you were able to escape for a little while,
Yeah,
and
totally. Oh my God.
so I miss it. That's the one thing I want to have back so bad is being able to play basketball.
For sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Golf. Luckily, I just doubled and tripled down on how much golf I was playing.
That's right.
Over this time.
That's right. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people. It's tough to get a tee time around here.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this has been great. Congratulations again on the success of the event, and I wish you future success with my brother's Birdies. I'll be following along, and maybe I'll see you out there at Avenel.
Yeah,
in
for
June.
sure. For sure.
Awesome, man.
Thanks, Alex.
Congrats.
Appreciate
Good
it.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Greg Odell, CEO of EventsDC. Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So as I just mentioned before we started taping, I got to sit down with Justin Harrison, the founder of My Brother's Birdies, who EventsDC partnered with on the event that we're here to talk about, which is the Capital Long Drive Classic. I'd love to hear kind of how that partnership came about and just kind of talk to us about how the whole event came about.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first I'll say I'll fully disclose Justin's a great friend as well. So I'm happy that we had an opportunity to actually work together. But we have been all devastated by this pandemic, and obviously in our business, whether it's sports, entertainment, or hospitality, we've probably been the most affected. And so we had to think creatively about how we could continue to be viable and create some meaningful experiences. And so we had a great chance to work with Justin and his team, but we really had an event where we could adhere to the guidelines, but also have we are the sports capital of the world, as we like to think of ourselves as. And so I'm a golf nut, so it was a great opportunity. We had a chance to do this, and so but most importantly, we did it in a very safe environment. Though I think it's also kind of in keeping with our mission about bringing some sports and some compelling experiences to Washington D.C.
Absolutely. So I want to get to that in a minute. You just kind of touched on it, that you're a golf nut. We'll come back to that in a minute. For the folks that are only listening to this in podcast format, Greg and I are wearing matching Travis Matthew quarter zips.
Not planned at all.
Not planned. I am curious. So I'm curious about a bunch of things. Justin did tell us a little bit about how the venue came about, because it's unique. I mean, there's 3 golf courses in DC, but it was held at West Potomac Park. Were you kind of involved in how that came to be?
I wasn't personally. Justin certainly was and our team did. And obviously, we've had a great partnership with the National Park Service and leveraging kind of those amazing assets. And let's face it, like they're unique to Washington D.C. So any chance we get, so it was an incredible backdrop, and even I will say exceeded the expectations that I had when you get down there and you saw this amazing venue, and then you saw these incredible athletes kind of hitting into distances you could barely see, with the monuments in the background. Like it was phenomenal and exceeded any expectation that I had.
Yeah, no, it was really cool to see there in person, and I'm excited to see how it comes out and how it plays out on TV on the Golf Channel here soon. I am curious. So EventsDC, for those that don't know, why don't you give us a quick some of the venues that EventsDC oversees?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. So we are the Convention and Sports Authority for Washington, D.C. And so on the sports side, in particular, we own the National Stadium. And so we had the pleasure of building that stadium for our World Series champion Nationals. But we also have RFK Stadium, and I can go on and on about the rich history there. But it's also obviously an opportunity now for us to reimagine that campus. We just built the new entertainment and sports arena, which actually has the training facility for the Washington Wizards, but also has the home of the Mystics and the Capital City Go-Go, as well as lots of other great event programming.
World champion Mystics.
World champion Mystics. Thank you for that as well. So from a venue perspective, we obviously even have the convention center, which I would note we just hosted a great basketball bubble for college teams there as well. But I say that addition to just the incredible venues, our job very much is also to promote and bring sports activities. And so we're working on great events such as like the World Cup for 2026 and other things. And so we very much see the value in having sports attract, visitors to our city and drive economic impact for the city.
So I've read quite a bit of your background as far as how the Washington Sports Entertainment merged with the Convention Center, and you led both those organizations, and now you lead EventsDC, which kind of oversees all of this. Is this the first kind of golf-centric event that EventsDC has been a part of?
That's a good question. I guess it is. I will say we probably sponsored other events that have been in the region and helped support. And we certainly, for the activities that have been focused on kind of redeveloping the 3 golf courses, we've been supportive of that initiative. But I will say this probably is the first event that we've actually done. So you actually are the first to call us out, but hopefully not the last. So, but yeah, this is probably the first one that's been very golf focused and we've led.
And so, as I understand, so this was the first, hopefully, inaugural Capital Long Drive Classic.
For sure. Yeah. Despite the fact that it was a great event that was obviously limited fans, I think this is the first of many. As you know better than me, there's a incredible golf community here in this region. And so I had friends who frankly said, hey, I would love to come to the event. And I was like, yeah, you can't. But next year, we hope that this will be open to as many fans as we can accommodate.
Justin had kind of touched on that. I know he has sounds like multiple friends within EventsDC, but obviously with the pandemic and everything that's going on in 2020, I imagine, events is in the title. I would imagine a lot of your events had to be either canceled or postponed, which may have opened up some budget for an event like this.
Yeah, unfortunately, the severity of the revenue that the impact of the revenue loss was quite severe, but we felt like we did need to make some investments in some events that not only to create some opportunities for at least some fans to enjoy, whether it's again a made for TV event or even some streaming capabilities that we now have in-house as well. But I think it will be we think this is the start of a great relationship and great event programming. And I think, look, golf is very important to the city. It's important that we expose young children to golf as well. So that was also an added benefit, despite the fact we had limited fans. As you know, we also had the opportunity to have a camp or a clinic for kids as well.
Yeah, I got a chance to. I kind of caught the back half of that, but got to see it over at East Potomac Park, which was great. A lot of kids out there, all the competitors are kind of giving ad hoc lessons on the spot. But so coming back to, cause you touched on it, you're a golf nut yourself.
Yeah.
And I saw you live in the city. Do you have any relationship at all with like National Links Trust? Have you been following, I imagine, that whole story?
Yeah, so we've worked closely all throughout the bid process with them and some other partners that helped. And I think, in whatever formal or informal way, we're going to support that effort because we think it's important to support golf. But they've been great partners. They've kudos to them for getting that proposal done and winning that work. And we will very much be a part of what we think is the revitalization of those golf courses. So we're happy to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, one of their golf courses, Langston, which there's so many different reasons to love Langston. I've been playing it for years and years and years. But one of my favorite things is coming down 18 and even looking back at one, you see RFK back there.
Oh yeah,
RFK, which is an institution. I got a whole bunch of pictures, which is kind of over the 18th green, and you got the Metro coming by. But EventsDC, you signed on there that RFK next year is coming down.
Yes, we and I'm glad you mentioned that. Not only obviously for our efforts to revitalize that campus, but we do think, and I think we even thought about our involvement not only to support golf, but also that area around Langston really is an opportunity to help kind of revitalize and redevelop that entire area. And there's a lot of rich history there that people don't know about. There's a wonderful communities that live in and around RFK that would benefit from not only hopefully the efforts that we're going to have to redevelop that campus, but also when those golf courses, particularly Langston, is redeveloped, it's going to be really great for that community.
Yeah, it's funny. My family and myself, ironically, on Masters Sunday, we were over in the RFK parking lots, driving through looking at dinosaurs. I don't know. Cool. I don't know if EventsDC was part of that, but there was
absolutely during Jurassic Quest. It was a great event that it was remarkable. We nearly sold out on several days. We had 250 cars come through on every hour. It was incredible.
It was packed. I had my son, my two nephews in the car. They were sticking their heads out of the sunroof, and I was streaming the Masters on my phone on the dashboard. But so my one more question on that is, so I imagine the future of that campus and how it gets to be all the different amenities for the community is very much still in flux and presentations and the plans are to come.
It is. We obviously the big question is about to be a stadium or not to be a stadium. And so what we try to do is really bifurcate a long-term planning process from what we think are some short-term redevelopment plans that we could put in place. And so what you may have also seen at campus is that we implemented and built 3 kind of multi-purpose fields. And so it's been great for the community, play all types of sports and league play. Obviously that's been impacted a little bit by COVID, but we have tons of play over there on that campus. And so some of the other short-term components, we're looking at a sports entertainment complex on that campus as well. We're looking at, if we do raise that stadium, then we would like to have a memorial in honor of the late great senator. And then also, probably not as sexy as the other ones, but we need like a market hall or something. There's a dearth of food options in that community. So we think that would also help and have great synergies with some of those other programming elements I mentioned. And then last but not least, it's a 190-acre site. We've got to connect better to those communities. So we may have, some network of pedestrian bridges that connect to some of those communities around us. And so regardless of whether a stadium happens or not, we think that those are, certainly amenities that the community would benefit from. We spent 3 years, working with the community to come up with some concepts that we think that they would benefit from. And so we were happy to say that the fields was the first out of the gate, and it's been well received.
Yeah, I actually just noticed those fields for the first time when I went down there. But and it is a massive campus. We have DC Armory, the old DC General Hospital, and it's just kind of sprawling. So it's great that the leader of EventsDC is not only a sports nut but a golf nut. Also, Justin mentioned that you got quite some hoops game, and so I threw your name into the Google machine this morning and saw you're the third leading scorer in Wofford for the Wofford Terriers Division I Southern Conference in their history. and you're in their Hall of Fame, so you got some serious game.
I appreciate that. What you may not have read is I also had the most shot attempts, and so I wasn't that shy of shooting. But thank you. And I golf was important because I can't play basketball forever, so I still try. COVID has had a dent on that, but I honestly, I probably started playing golf in my late 20s, and frankly, I wish I'd played sooner. Like I love the game of golf. The challenges individually, but also no course is the same. You get to just see these amazing courses and challenge yourself, and you can play with anybody, right? So I love the fact that I could play with my father, I could play with my younger brother. Like it's just something I've enjoyed, and now I can play, for the rest of my life. So frustrating game, as you know, but but it's something that I've really taken a liking to, and I play every chance I get.
Excellent. Do you have a regular foursome or a larger club, or?
I do. I was a member of a club in the area, and I decided just this summer that I would leave that club for various reasons. But I play with a group of 4 guys that we typically play, probably extended group. We talk a lot of trash, obviously. So that's as you know, that's half the battle right there. But it's something I really enjoy. My game has suffered. I can't blame it all on COVID, but for whatever reason, I feel like my handicap has grown exponentially. But hopefully, I'll get out of this funk.
That's cool. So, what last question here before I let you go? Right. Being a hoops guy, any take? What are your thoughts on the John Wall Russell Westbrook trade?
Yeah, so let me be politically correct. So I think John Wall has done a great job. He's been great for this city. I think I read an article the other day that really not only talked about his basketball capabilities, but he arguably was probably one of the first true number 1 draft picks we've had in a long time. And so I think the community embraced him. Having said that, it's probably a good move for a change of scenery for everybody involved. And so I think Westbrook plays hard. I've always liked him personally as a player. I think it's going to be great, not only for just the play on the court, but off the court as well. I think it'll bring a different mentality to that team. And so, we're obviously great partners with Monumental Sports. I'm a big fan of theirs, so I'm hopeful that it'll bear fruit, and I'm optimistic. So I support it and love it and can't wait to see him. I think there's a general interest again about what's going to happen with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of how most people feel. Kind of mixed emotions. A lot of people really like John Wall a lot. The team might be better now, but a lot of people really like John Wall. I bought season tickets literally a few weeks after they drafted John Wall back in 2010, and have been a season ticket holder ever since. Cool. So I was all in on John Wall, and I'll miss him. But Russell Westbrook, he's got an MVP. He's got a heck of a resume. Yeah. So that's really cool. Well, listen, I won't take up any of your time. I was really excited to get down to the Capital Long Drive Classic. I think it's a great add to the DC kind of golf scene, especially if this becomes an annual event with fans. Yeah. And certainly can't wait to see it on the Golf Channel on the 17th and the 20th.
Cool. No, well, thanks for giving us the time and certainly shining light on the event. And maybe we're both wearing the gear. Maybe we get a chance to play sometime.
Absolutely. That'd be great. Thank you very much, Greg.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, we're out here at Twin Lakes Golf Course in Clifton, right? Clifton, Virginia, with Josh Jackson.
Yep.
How are you, man?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for having me on.
I know we've been trying to put this together for a little while. You were one of the first people I reached out to when I started this podcast. Yeah. I'm glad that we're able to finally make it work. And kind of what prompted this is the Capital Long Drive Classic. Congratulations, man. It was a cool event. I'm excited to see you hit some. I saw you in person, but now I get to see you on TV.
Yeah, cool. No, I'm super excited about seeing it also. It was a great event, and I suggest that everyone watches it because it's definitely like before its time.
So we were just chatting. So you're relatively new to long drive. Your rookie season was 2019.
Yes.
And so this is essentially your coming out party on TV. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. No, I'm super excited. I'm pretty young in the sport, so to be able to have like a TV appearance, especially with everything that's been happening like the last year or so, it's nothing but a blessing.
Yeah. So how did you get into long drive? Because I read a little about you. I mean, you're not new to golf. You played college golf. You've been playing golf the majority of your life.
Yeah.
But how'd you get into long drive?
I mean, long story short, basically, like when I came out of college, I ended up pursuing professional golf. I played in college also, but when I got out of college, football wasn't, working out or anything like that. So I went ahead. I had another option of a sport to play and try to pursue, and I went ahead and started getting into, professional tournaments or trying to pursue like a professional career in golf. I ended up tearing my patella tendon in like 2014, and that sidelined me for like a long time. So I was already swinging like around like 130 miles an hour.
Before the injury?
Yeah, before. And then once, I came back off my injury.
Were you putting up that kind of numbers in college?
No.
That was
no,
okay.
I wasn't even like, I had to do football and golf. So like I had to hit certain numbers. I couldn't like push it to the max too much because, half the time I was too tired from doing all the football stuff. And they just threw me in a van and drove me down south about 8 hours. So I was just making sure I scored good and everything. I was just hitting irons in the fairway and hitting it on the green, trying to make all conference or something like that.
And you went to school, did I read Kentucky State?
Kentucky State University, yes. And so my knee ended up healing up or starting to heal up a lot better than I expected. And my numbers, I started swinging I started hitting like 140 club head speed every now and then, and I was like, all right, maybe I should just go ahead and jump into a tournament or two and see what happens.
Is there a general, like for folks that, most people watch long drive, throughout the years on Golf Channel, everyone's familiar with it. But what is that for someone that's trying to get into it? Is there like a club head speed? You're like, is it 140? Like if I'm not above 140, I might as well not do it.
I would say 140.
Yeah.
Or 135. It mainly just depends on like your numbers.
Yeah.
Meaning like spin rate, ball speed, and all that.
Sure.
If you're cracking 200 miles an hour ball speed, you should definitely go ahead and check it out. Yeah, I would say that's like a baseline number.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So what's unusual? You just touched on it. Going back to college, you're at Kentucky State. There couldn't have been that many football like cross sport athletes between football and golf.
Yeah, I've researched it. I haven't seen anyone else do it, so that'd be cool if someone could tag me in a post or something to tell me how many people have done that.
Were you on scholarship on both?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I was at a D2 school.
Yeah.
They thought it was a joke that I was trying to try out for the golf team. The football coach was actually helping out in the spring with the golf team, and we had a pretty good relationship. I told him, I was like, is it cool if I try out for the golf team? And they let me do it. I guess they were trying to make fun of me or something by letting me come through, and came out for the tryout and ended up being the number 2 seed for the team for the year. Made all conference, and I think they gave me MVP for both years.
Really?
I think.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah. So.
And what'd you play football? What position?
I was playing linebacker in college, and then I went into the draft as a fullback.
How about that? Went to the NFL draft as a fullback.
Yeah.
Did you get any looks from some NFL teams?
Yeah, I had 3 tryouts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they ended up not wanting to go with any fullbacks.
Sure.
That's how the league is.
But but you got some serious athletic genes in your family. Tell us about your father.
Oh, my father. He was in the NFL for 14 years as a left tackle. Steelers for 10 years, Chargers for 2 years, and Cincinnati for another 2 years. That was his final 2 years. But he ended up retiring as a Steeler. So they let him come back to Pittsburgh for a day and retire as a Steeler.
Did I read that he started in Super Bowl 30 blocking for Neil O'Donnell and Cordell Stewart?
Yep. I was there.
You were there?
Yeah.
How old were you?
In Tempe, Arizona. I think I want to say I was like 7 or 8.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was right before we went over to. It was a couple years before we went to San Diego.
Yeah. So did you play golf in high school?
Yeah. My freshman and sophomore year, I was on the golf team.
And this is out in Southern California?
Yeah, in Southern California at Westview High School. They were a pretty new high school, so It was a great experience though.
So that's San Diego County?
Poway.
Poway, okay.
Yeah, it was part of Poway Unified District.
Gotcha,
so
okay, interesting.
Northern San Diego.
Yeah. And so when did you make your way out to the D.C. area, the DMV?
I came out here in 2014 for like just short of a year, a couple months or so. Then I ended up moving down to Tampa for about 2 years.
And maybe I get the timeline wrong. Is that 2014? Is that when you said you had the injury?
Yeah. I got injured up and I was playing basketball.
Oh, wow.
And just went up for a dunk because I already dunked like 30 times.
Your body went one way and your knee went the other?
No, I was just I stepped down so hard that it just ended up just pulling my tendon right off my shin.
Oh wow.
So but no, at the time I was still training to try to get a tryout with a NFL team.
Okay.
And I mean I was in great shape. And I was sort of mad. I'm not gonna lie, because I was already running. I was like 225 pounds, and I was running like a 4.5, like a 4.56.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I'm getting excited though, because I'm starting to my body's starting to get back to that like NFL body.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see what numbers I can put up in the golf world with my NFL body. Basically,
you're gonna take those NFL workouts, NFL body, and put it towards long drive.
Put it towards golf, period.
Put it towards golf, period.
Yeah.
What do you obviously hitting bombs, getting 140 miles an hour ball speed or club head speed is requires some serious strength, especially below the waist.
Yeah.
How else do you feel like kind of like those strength? I mean, working out and adding strength on the PGA Tour has been huge for the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
But how do you see those correlate?
Well, I mean, power when it comes to golf or any type of like rotation starts from the ground up.
Yeah.
So, strong legs, explosive legs, that'll help you out, especially if you know how to use it properly. So, anything to do with like lower body strength is mainly a plus.
Yeah. Did I read? I think I read on maybe on one of the bios I was reading up on you. Did you maybe it was before the injury, after the injury? Did you essentially add about 17 miles an hour on your?
Yeah, that was after, because when I first like started to get my legs up under me, because for a long time I couldn't really plant into my left leg at all, to the point where I was only able to hit it probably. I would go and like play golf and only be able to hit it like 250 yards.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever, like, I'm just happy to be playing golf and happy to be able to swing it.
Right.
And then like the more and more I started getting like strength back into my left leg, that's when my club head speed started just, skyrocketing. So
for folks listening, like you were already clearly really good at golf. You already had some serious game. I mean, the injury happened, but then essentially later, I don't know if you call it later in your career, but you're able to put that much more swing speed. What do you say to someone like myself? I'm a big dude. I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
My swing speed right now, I just got fitted for a drive the other day. I'm almost embarrassed to admit what it is. I mean, it's like it's maybe 105.
Uh-huh.
But what do you, how did you add that much club head speed? Like, what did you do?
Well, first, I've been working with John Eisman for since I started, the long drive, my long drive path or career or anything like that. So technique had a ton of, things to do with my speed jumps. The strength and everything was definitely like icing on a cake and everything, just to like help me sustain certain speeds.
Mm-hmm.
When I would get up to them. But no, like technique, you have to learn how to swing fast or swing more efficient. Like you have to use, and load certain parts of your body in order to get the amount of speed that you're capable of swinging. So you're at 105 right now. You haven't came to us yet. We can get
John.
you.
Just shout out John Eisman.
Yeah,
he was on the show episode 3. He's been he shot me a couple messages. Why come out? Let me get you some lessons. So I need to do it.
You never know. I mean, you literally can gain 5 to 10 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? Just off of learning how to do certain moves and load your body up a little bit better and just better technique.
Yeah.
So of course, like the strength and everything will help out with you increasing your ceiling of
Sure.
speed. But yeah, I mean, definitely technique. It's a lot of technique involved when it comes to long drive.
Yeah.
You can't hit it far if you don't have proper technique.
Sure.
It's more than strength, in my opinion.
So you really got into long drive in 2019.
Yeah, 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was that process? You just said, you know what, I think I can compete with some of these guys. Let me try it out. Did you just sign up for an event? Like how did that go?
I ended up going to an event out in Mesquite.
Okay.
Back in like I want to say it was like spring or summer of like 2018, and that's like the world famous grid right there. And I was like, all right, if I don't crack 400 yards, I don't think I should be in the sport. That was just me. Like that's the standard I set for myself. So I went out there and tried to qualify for the world championships, but I fell short. But I ended up cracking 400 yards, like I was saying, and I was like, all right, I need to change. I need to make a bunch of like different changes and everything, so then that way I could.
Was that in the competition? You cracked 400 yards? Or?
Yeah.
So a 400-yard drive didn't get you into the competition, or didn't get you to the next
I think
stage?
I hit 402, and I think I was short of getting to like one of the final rounds by, I want to say like less than 10 yards or so.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't really like, I had a bomb that was up the left side, but it didn't stay in. I think they told, like, one of the guys told me it was over 420, but yeah.
That was one. So the event in D.C. here, and we'll get back to that one second. But that was the first one I've seen in person, and I was kind of taken aback by, I don't know if because they didn't really have an aerial view, at least not that I saw. So I'm only used to seeing it on TV.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at was it was thinner than I had in my mind. I was like, oh wow,
Well,
I don't know. That's a tight fairway.
Compared to the Capital Long, that's what I enjoyed. That's really what I enjoyed about the Capital Long Drive was that, okay, like we see the landmarks and stuff up the left side, the right side. We see landmarks all around us. Then we have like a grid that's like it's tighter than usual.
Yeah.
So like you had to actually play golf a little bit.
Sure.
And actually get it in the grid, because it would, like, the Mesquite grid is probably, I want to say like 10 to 20 yards wider on both sides. It feels like.
Oh really? Then
the
one
Mesquite
in
grid
DC.
is huge compared to.
Is there a standard width for most of the competitions?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but
up.
I know that I know that the Capital Long Drive one was a little bit tighter.
A little tighter. It looked tighter.
It was fun. Like,
yeah.
I had a blast, man. It was awesome.
So you do the event in Mesquite. You hit the 400 yards. You say, okay, maybe I didn't make this one, but I think I got what it takes.
Yeah.
And then what? You just came back, started training. Did you enter a bunch more events, or?
Yeah, like I ended up doing like right around, I think, 3 or 4 events the next year.
Okay.
And I put some pretty good numbers up.
Yeah.
Finished 4th place in one of the qualifiers.
Nice.
Out in Memphis, and then I ended up going to a couple more events, qualifiers, and I ended up trying I was in the Tennessee Shootout event. I got knocked out the first round, but it was a great experience.
So, and then we get to 2020, and you're just kind of getting started in this thing, and everything's getting kind of shut down. So the Golf Channel owns the biggest, it's the World Long Drive Tour, which was owned by the Golf Channel. That's kind of like is it kind of thing where there's like kind of smaller events and smaller tours that aren't involved with that, or is that everything was kind of revolved around that?
For the most part, everything was revolved around, I guess, like the the Golf Channel's World Long Drive Tour. Now, which is like really cool, is that you're starting to see a bunch of different different like long drive events that are like starting to pop up.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because pretty much, with the World Long Drive having, their tour, it wasn't really too many. I didn't know of any other long drive events that were going on. So now it's like you see like 3 or 4 different type of events and everything. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I was getting at, because the for folks that don't know, the Golf Channel essentially shut down the World Long Drive Tour. They're trying to sell the property and trying to figure out where it goes next, which I imagine leaves this increase. It seems like every year it becomes more and more popular, the long drive, and now essentially there's no home for it, at least currently.
Yeah.
Which I imagine makes an event like the Capital Long Drive Classic that much more exciting for competitors to come out and show their stuff.
No, definitely. They did like Justin and those guys did an amazing job I know that the veterans were impressed of everything, but I was super impressed. Like, I wish every event will be just like that one. That was awesome.
So how did you get connected with? Did you know Justin and those guys prior, or how did they get? How did you get signed up?
Well, they gave me a call. Yeah, I met Justin back in August. You know. Maurice hooked me up with them.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, that's
Maurice Allen.
20, I guess like 60 days later?
Yeah.
60 or 90 days later?
We talked about it in my conversation with him. He put it together crazy fast.
Yeah.
Which is that much more impressive.
Yeah, they work super fast, and then on top of super fast, like they had everything together on top of it. It was pretty great.
So I also did notice, I got one video of you kind of got, I don't know if this is a signature move, but like after you hit a bomb, you kind of do this kind of thing where you flip the club around and shoot it at the sky like it's a ski or something.
The rocket launcher.
The rocket launcher.
The RPG.
Where'd you come? Is that your own thing, or where'd you come up with that?
Yeah, no, like I like to have fun, man. Like when I'm out there, you know, I look at it as like a video game. You know what I mean? After like when you play Tiger Woods, like PGA Tour,
Sure.
they would do celebrations and stuff after. I don't see why not. You know.
You look like going way back. You look like a duck hunter out there. Shooting the ball out of the sky.
Yeah. So
No, it's exciting to get to see this on Golf Channel next week and see how they edit it all together.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be awesome.
Play. But just on some of the promos, I think they're gonna do an awesome job. So back to here. So the reason we're at Twin Lakes, and you mentioned John Eisman, is now you gotten into instructing, and you are. I don't know if it's on camera, but we got an Eisman Golf Academy sign right behind you.
Yep.
So you're working with his team.
Yes. I've been with them for about a month now. We're running 2 clinics on Saturdays, and you know, people are starting to come out. People are starting to want lessons and everything, and they're at the right place, especially for what they're looking for.
Yeah, people are getting back into golf. It's 2020. It's pandemic. There's a lot of bad going on in the world, but golf is one of the safer things to do. A lot of people are coming back to the sport, so they need lessons.
Definitely, yeah, and golfers, all the golfers, that are starting out, everybody hates their driver. So
right.
That's what we've been working on, with a lot of people, trying to, make the game a lot more fun, because it's not as fun when you're not hitting, you're not hitting off the tee, good or anything like that. If you're out of bounds all the time, it's going to be a super long round.
Has John started to, because John, he's got a handful of instructors, at least 3, 4, 5, I don't know. But if someone fills out a form or something, or calls him up and says, yeah, I really need to get off the tee, is he starting to point them in your direction? Like, I got a guy?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think so. But yeah, no, everyone that's on staff, they know everyone's really well-rounded.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would hope so. That'd be awesome. But
we'll see.
No,
we'll see. John, maybe that's a good idea for you. So another thing I noticed is, we got your golf bag back here. That logo you got there, what's that about?
Well, that's my brand. Online. I
checked out your website. Your website is what?
JoshJacksonGolf.com.
JoshJacksonGolf.com.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, so we have shoes, we have polos, we have net gaiters, pretty much every little bit of apparel that a golfer would need to go out and play, and everything's high quality and at a good price.
I love it, man. You're turning yourself into a brand. You've already got tons of social media followers. The videos of you crushing the ball are awesome. So
yeah, I appreciate it.
Excited that we got a local DMV guy, kind of getting started in the long drive world. I know there's a couple others, a couple of big names, and from this general area in the world long drive. But it's good to have another guy just getting started. So it'd be really excited to kind of follow your career in a world long drive tour, not just hitting long bombs, but also as an instructor.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
it's been great.
All right, man. Well, listen, it's been great. I'm excited to see the event on the Golf Channel. It's on December 17th and December 20th. So check it out. We might take a little video of Josh out driving me by 180 yards here. We'll see. But thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Josh.
I don't have a good golf game, but I don't really care. I'm a regular dude living in D.C., and I want to know about DC-centric golf stuff. If you can tell me something that I don't already know, then that is great for me. I don't want the regular stuff. I want exciting stuff. I want different stuff. I want stuff I can't hear elsewhere. But I want it to be about DC golf.